Hi, I'm Susan Lewis from WRTI, and this is Time In. I'm here with Grammy-winning guitarist Jason Vieaux, who just got back from Alaska, I understand. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Susan. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah, Alaska was great. I was in Juneau with Zool Bailey, the cellist, and he runs a series there. He's artistic director of a series there called Juneau Jazz and Classics. So it was kind of a residency. Did a lot of performing. Did some performing with Zool as well. Um, yeah, it's great. I mean, it's been sort of slowly picking up, the concert thing. So.
Right. Well, you and I spoke last, I think it was 2015. You won a Grammy that year for your solo album Play. You just had a new album with Yolanda Condonasis, and
Yeah, yeah.
and your life seems to have just gotten busier and busier with interesting projects and collaborations. I saw that you in 2018 you recorded some work on the House of Cards Symphony, which
Oh, yeah, yeah.
kind of interesting.
Yeah,
um,
it was a concerto that Jeff Beal, the composer of the House of Cards music,
yes.
and many other things, Monk and other. He does a lot of shows, like shows and movies. He wrote a guitar concerto for me, so that was on that House of Cards CD. Yeah.
Yeah. And in 2019, you recorded live performance of Jonathan Leshnoff's guitar concerto with the Nashville Symphony, and recorded this new album that you have out with Pat Metheny Music, where
Yes.
you play Four Paths of Light on
Yeah.
the Sun. So you've had a lot going on since we last spoke.
Yeah. I've probably done more recording in the last 5 years than I have at any point in my 25-year career. It just seemed like it was kind of a good opportunity to get those collaborations that I was already regularly playing with, like Julian LeBreau, Escher String Quartet, Yolanda Kanonassis, and then these other opportunities like Jonathan Leshnoff's piece and Jeff Beal, the Gina Stara Sonata, this kind of thing. These other projects that would come along, and it just seemed like it was the right time to do it. Like if it wasn't going to happen then, I wasn't really sure if it ever would happen because, for example, Escher String Quartet is on the road like probably even more than I am. I'm usually on the road like 2/3 of the year. So it was kind of like, well, it's either now or never, and then just slotting them all in, and it was like one a year. The thing with Pat Metheny that he knew, I mean, he had wanted to write something for me for many years, and then that fell into place. It almost feels like for me, I'm not really in control of all that stuff. It's like, oh, if there's the opportunity and it can happen, it's almost always driven by the other person for me. Actually, I think, which is good because I don't know. I'm more like a live player. I like playing, and so I can play for like an entire year, and then I have a moment of respite, and I'm like, oh God, I really should think about like, doing something to help my career. The thing that I enjoy more than anything is performing. So yeah, the pandemic and all that, like the last year was, kind of a
So
drag.
where are you zooming in from right now?
My basement.
In
So
in and
which
around.
was, which was like the headquarters here. Here you go.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. Secret look into the behind the behind the wizard's curtain, I guess. Yeah, this became during the beginning of the pandemic when everything was canceled. So the spring of 2020, both Cleveland Institute of Music and Curtis Institute of Music, the places I teach at, were via Zoom. So I put this backdrop and took one of the lamps from upstairs, and then I've got an old light from Artist Works from my online school. My online school that I started 10 years ago with Artist Works, that flourished, of course, because people were at home.
Right.
So there were little bits and pieces of income that were coming in, but the really hard thing for a few months was that there were no concerts. And that's really like that's our primary thing.
So what was your day to day like with your at home with your family and
Mostly it was great because I had never really been with my kids, for more than maybe like a week and a half or something like that at a time. So my son Gabriel, as a 5-year-old, he was already used to that. But um, Evangeline, I think at the time of the pandemic was still like had just turned. Well, she would have been 3, and then turned 4. So because she'll turn 5 this August, I think. I don't know. It's like a blur. Some parts of the pandemic are a little bit kind of blurry for me. But like it was great because we could be together, and I played a lot more with them and this sort of thing. But it was also, for me, it was a bit of an adjustment. It took a couple months to really figure out just how to be a musician, actually, because I'm very much a performance oriented animal, because I have all these collaborations and because I have all this kind of thing going on, and that there was never any wanting for like gigs, that when they weren't there, it was just very hard. It was just hard for me to feel like me. So I turned to composing actually the first few months, and that was great because I wrote over like 60 minutes of solo guitar pieces. And then I was taking care of my dad's stuff too. It was like living a different life for a while,
Right. So pre-pandemic, what kind of things did you like to do to relax?
Play gigs. you know yeah, I mean, it's kind I mean, it's really is my thing. I mean, yeah, a lot of it is work and I need a break from it, now and then. But when I say a break, I need like a nap, or I'll occasionally take a day off where I just hang out in the backyard or something like that with my family and that kind of. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have hobbies. I'm so conditioned after 25 years to preparing for like next week, or at the most like 2 weeks from now, that type of thing.
Right. Physically, some instruments require you to stay in shape, even if you're not playing. So
Yeah, this one does. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so I was continually playing. The composing and working out things on the guitar definitely kept my chops up. And then, but I think it was early June, my colleague at Cleveland Institute of Music and I put together like a recital for the Cleveland International Guitar Festival. That ended the performance drought, but that was a whole other sort of thing for me that took a lot of getting used to, was like doing a performance through Zoom or YouTube Live or whatever. Very strange. Like by last November, I started to get the hang of it, and then I had a few more things, and it was.
what kind of things inspired you in your composing?
Writing etudes, like writing developmental things that I thought were missing from maybe missing from a contemporary repertoire, and actually I was so focused at that point. I began to divert more of my focus naturally to the artist work students, who most of them are at either I would say a beginner level or intermediate level. So that was an opportunity for me, because there was a lot of things where I was like, gosh, if only somebody wrote something that did this, that developed this a little bit more, or just focused on this arpeggio. And then I could write it. It was like, I'd write it like in a half an hour, or I'd write a tremolo piece and it would take like an hour or two. And then I've been performing some of those things too. And I mean, composing actually is something that also always came very naturally to me. I just never had time to do it. It's like, if you're playing that much, there's really not a lot of extra time.
You get inspired by little kids can be quite give you a lot of activity that you may not have been able to do.
Yeah, no, I definitely wrote some things for them. Like I wrote something called B Day 6, and that was on Gabriel's birthday. I wrote that on his birthday. And then I wrote, this tremolo piece I wrote, which was meant to be kind of like an intermediate student's tremolo, where the tremolo is like a right hand effect that does, it's like Recuerdos de la Alhambra. This kind of thing. It's like an effect in the right hand that simulates a continuously sustaining melody. And so I wrote something like that, and I called that home, because I was thinking very much about kind of being at home. One of these munchkins is down here right now, huh? Sweetheart, I'll be upstairs soon. So this is the basement thing. It became necessary for me to kind of do most of my stuff from down here, because we could lock. There's like a basement door that comes to the outside, so like we can lock from the inside, and then I go outside. So like during the winter months, I'd be out in the snow in my boots. I mean, this was sort of the headquarters for Curtis lessons, classes, CIM lessons for a while. Anything related to music, I would do like an interview and a kind of a casual performance for, say, New Mexico Philharmonic or something like that. And that would all the radio interviews and that kind of thing too.
So it sounds as if your music kind of helped you navigate the pandemic in a different way.
It always takes me a long time for the smoke to clear from all that to really sort of see it more clearly. But I think it did. I think writing music was very therapeutic. You know, obviously when I was younger, like a teenager or early 20s, I could practice just to practice, right? Just to get good, try to get better at something. I was so conditioned after so many years to be practicing for something in the very near future, like in 3 days or 7 days, or at the most like 14 days after a while. So at first I didn't really know. It was hard to practice because I didn't have anything. There was nothing to prepare for. There wasn't an audience. You know, there was no. That's what it really kind of felt like. There wasn't anybody listening. Then things started to come around with the Zoom stuff and that kind of thing, which is great. I mean, I'm not knocking it, but for the performer, my audience listens really hard. I don't know how to describe it. Like it's almost like a relationship that you have with them. It's quiet, you know, again, and you know, but you also feel the energy in the room. It's kind of like a stand-up comedian would be, like a comedian would have to sort of read the room, or the room is different everywhere they go, like how they react to their playing, and then they have to make the adjustment. They make adjustments. Like that's kind of the way I perform. I don't play the same way every time. So that was missing, right?
Right. Well, it sounds as if you're getting back to things are picking up, and you have a lot coming up.
Yeah, oh, yeah. The fall's very busy already. It's all these reschedules that are sort of hanging in the air. 10 of them like fell to the ground, like in a two-month period. So that was a bit of a shock, but it was awesome. I was like, okay, all right, here we go. You know, get into the fight condition, as they say. You know, like it was good. Get my chops back, and I've been playing better than ever. I have to say, the break was actually really probably very good for my playing, because I feel like my live performance is stronger than it ever was. So,
wow, why do you think that is?
I don't know, just the time away, I think, and also a little bit further time away from between performances. I may try to, if we can swing it, I might try to space them out more in the future, like play less, because you get more time. Actually, you get more time on each gig, or like on each project, whether it's Escher Quartet or like we're premiering something by Sergio Assad, right? Like it's nice to have like 2 months to work on that piece, you know?
During this last year, did you start doing something new that you'd like to continue going forward? Or did you change the way you think about something or think about life?
Well, I think I'm generally taking better care of myself. I think sleep, again, I mean, it was always in my back of my mind, like, you know, like I should really make sleep and practice more of a priority. And it was just a lot easier to do that in the pandemic, you know, and more regular exercise. Like I was exercising really great. Like I dropped 15 pounds and stuff just from eating at home instead of eating on the road, and walking a lot. And so I think I've carried some of that stuff with me, but generally my mindset is kind of the same. I really am very much looking for things to get back to normal, as if there is. You know, I don't know how much of the new normal is going to be in the old normal, but I did know I definitely learned a lot of things, and I'd like to carry forward the composing as well, but I just don't.
Right.
Now that I've had all this time with them, and they, you know, we just enjoy each other's company so much, I want to spend more time with them.
Last couple questions. When you spend a lot of time with kids, I mean, did you watch a lot of videos, or kids movies, or
Oh
did you?
yeah. We became. Well, I became a big fan of. What were we watching? With Henry Danger. Yeah, we were watching Henry Danger a lot this last few minutes.
We watched Harry Potter.
Well, there's Harry Potter was the other night. Yeah, you're a little young for Harry Potter, but Gabriel's old. I think. Well, just things like I hadn't played video games like since, and I know I'm a Gen Xer and stuff, so I know it's like big with my generation, but like I kind of stopped playing video games when I was, I don't know, 13, 14. So my wife and I had bought this Wii machine because we were at my brother's house like 10 years ago. And I was playing the Wii golf with my brother and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, that's fun!" And the bowling and this kind of thing. So my wife had bought it and forgot. So at the beginning of the pandemic, she brought it. I hear all this commotion downstairs. I'm upstairs like working on something, and so I hear all this commotion downstairs. I'm like, "What's going on?" Everybody's laughing and like playing whatever. They're playing this Wii. We had forgotten we had it. Gabriel was like 5 years old. And we had forgotten we had this Wii. So that became like a 3-month obsession for me. Like I got gold cups on every level of Mario Kart and stuff like that. I was playing like the golf and the tennis and baseball with Gabriel. I was doing all this stuff. Like I would never, if you would have told me like, a few years before that I'd be playing video games, I would have said, there's no way. I would have, So yeah, it was strange. Like, honestly, it was really like, it was strange and beautiful. It was like really great because I bonded with him in a way that there's really no way it would have been able to do that. So
Now the weather's getting nicer. You play any of those sports outside?
Yeah, because I'm totally like a Buffalo sports guy. Like I want my son to throw a football with a spiral and like, and this kind of thing, but it's slow going because they're not. I mean, they're not so much into the sport. They're just more into just running. So we got a trampoline now in the backyard, and we just get out. We get them out at the park, so they go to the playground and that kind of thing. That was a lot of fun.
That's cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us.
All right, thanks, Susan.